So, hello everyone. As soon as I see people coming, just let me know if you guys can hear me. Meanwhile, I'm gonna try to invite Denny. Hey buddy, how are you? Can you hear me perfectly? Guys, time's up if you can hear me. Great. ¿Qué tal? How are you, amigo? Just gonna send a message to Denny to watch the live stream so I can invite him as well. So guys, before we start, yeah, my beard. Before we start, I'm just gonna explain what we're gonna talk about. Then basically the whole idea was, as it's quarantine and we have plenty of time, I thought watching someone's life experience it might help us to see a different point of view about certain things. We might be able to learn from him, and I'm definitely sure we're gonna be able to learn from him a lot of things, how he used to compete, how he used to see Flair generally. So let me try to just invite him again. Denny, where are you? Hey everyone, nice to see you guys. This social media gonna kill me. Okay, we're getting there. Guys, also at the end, you're gonna have time to ask him certain questions and we're gonna try to reply to everybody. 1 second. Okay, great. Denny is here. Already. Are you here? Did you get the perfect? Hey, how are you?
Hey guys, hello.
Good to see you, man. How are you
Good
doing?
to see you too. I'm good, man. I'm in Bali, locked down, same as everyone else. Yeah, doing the right, bro. Everything's good. Thank you so much for initiative and inviting me for this call.
Uh, it's my pleasure, man. It's gonna be awesome. Like we always had good conversation when we met, and I thought the other guys they're gonna enjoy the same things. And if some people never had a chance to talk to you, it's gonna be a special opportunity for them. So it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah,
Uh,
man. Thank you so much. It's just the other day I saw this meme on the internet when someone said, "Soon we will run out of people for live streams," and then the same day you wrote me. I was like, "Okay, nice. We still have hope."
is always is you can always learn from other people, and I watch many live streams, and I realize it's actually really helpful when you cannot talk to other people. So let's start a little bit. The reason why we start this whole conversation because of your journey, and I think is a great lesson for other people if they can hear your journey from the time you were a kid, how you used to think, what was your dream, to the time you actually start competing, and by the time where we are now. So could you just tell us something? How how you used to be like a kid? What was your dream? What did you want it to be?
Hmm. Yeah, look, actually, Flair was like combination of two things for me. My mom is the sports school director, and my father is musician, right? So like, kind of Flair was in somewhere like as a synthesis of both, in a way.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I was playing like when I was a kid, I was just playing like a bunch of different sports, and played music in the same time, and played football for like 12 years or something like that. So there was like always kind of like the discipline that sport developed in me definitely helped me in Flair later on as well. And yeah, after all, like I went after the high school, I went to university that was connected to um, uh, hospitality, restaurants, and hotel business and stuff like that. And then first course, I started working behind a bar already and started getting interested in like just what bar is and what I can learn there and stuff like that. Um, like childhood for sure. I mean, I didn't dream to become a flair bartender, that's for sure, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, that was not really in horizon. But actually, I have to say, when my father was musician, was playing in some restaurants for some gigs sometimes. And I think when I was maybe 7 or 8 years old, I was in one of the restaurants where he had a gig, and I saw a bartender flipping a shaker. And I was like, I'm from small town in Ukraine where we had like, I don't know, maybe 35, 40,000 people. It's like far away from big city, and you know what I mean? It was not many like opportunities for many people and stuff. But then suddenly I saw that bartender was doing some tricks and stuff behind the bar. So there was like some kind of glimpse of that. And I almost was not so aware as a kid, but I still remember that right now, you know, just kind of like somehow it was there already from early age. I could see, I had the glimpse of flaring and flipping shaker and stuff. And I saw that shaker, you know, when you see it for the first time, when you see flare for the first time, when shaker is flipping and light reflects on the stainless, you know, and it creates
Yeah.
this magical feeling. I was like, wow, as a kid, I definitely remember that moment.
And then you start
Yeah,
playing,
and
or how?
no, no,
Like,
no. I remember just seeing that and like that was it, you know. And then I started like when I started already working behind the bar and practicing Flair. That was the moment when it actually kind of looked back and realized that oh, I saw something like that when I was a kid, you know. It's so interesting.
that's amazing.
Um, yeah, so basically I started working behind the bar while I was studying because kind of like my family couldn't support me enough in you know to experience those things I wanted to experience as a teenager. And that's why I started working. And I was kind of placed in a small bar, in Italian restaurant, in a pizzeria where you know it was not much to learn. And there was some kind of franchise company who had like their own standards for drinks and bar and stuff like that. So it was not really even international standard in a way. And my friend who was I think he was a waiter, and he invited me to see this bartender challenge competition that was happening in that city, right?
Mhm.
Where I was studying, and I was like, okay, I'll go check it out. So the moment I went inside that club and I saw stage and those lights and bartender were juggling bottles and stuff, I was like, okay, that's what I want to try to learn, right? So the same
Yeah.
day I went to one of the guys ask if they do some kind of courses or something like that, and end up having like 14 days Flair course with one of the guys who was competing there, and then slowly starting kind of like getting next to them, and you know
Oh,
start traveling around Ukraine and competing there.
how old you were at that time? 18, 19, or?
No, I was I think 18, yeah. Oh, sorry, I think I was 19 actually. Yeah,
And do you
19.
remember your first teacher?
Yes, of course. Artyom Klimenko is Ukrainian guy. He was in that time he was Ukrainian champion. So for me, it was like I was very lucky to meet him as my first instructor. And as he's working right now in India in Goa, and maybe he's watching us right now. I hope maybe he'll watch one day. And
Great.
I can say thank you so much for everything he's done, and you know how much inspiration he planted in me and stuff like that. So yeah, I was very lucky with like mentors on my path somehow, you know, and that was really amazing to have all these people supporting and seeing some kind of potential and spending a little bit more time with me, directing and showing me some new things and stuff like that. So, but definitely, yeah, like community, you know, it's very important to have right people around you who can support that growth in a way.
That's true. That's true. And how many years did you practice before your first competition? Before you realize, okay, I want to show to people, because I can see a lot of people practicing, but they don't feel that they can show to other people and they can express themselves. When did you get the feeling that you want to actually do this in front of others?
Look, it didn't take me too long actually. I mean, it was um it was one bar I wanted to work in the city, and the bar manager used to be this judge of Flair competition in the same city, right? And so it was by kind of the best way was to impress him and get a job there where he was managing the bar. It was probably to impress him in that competition. So I took the choice, right? So I
Yeah.
started practicing. Maybe I spent 3 4 months, and I performed in that competition, and we started kind of. That's how I met him, and then I actually got a job at the bar. and that bar was like kind of as a, almost like a foundation for me to start practicing in and start traveling from there, making enough money to actually support my travel journeys and stuff like that, you know. So yeah, it was like not that long. I didn't really feel like to wait too long until I will be ready to compete or something like that. I know a lot of people get into the trap when you feel like you're not ready. And I mean, man, to be honest, one second, sorry, it got a little bit dark. Um, in a way, you never get ready. I remember my competitions like,
Yeah, I can hear you now. It's all good.
you do you still hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah. So perfect. No. Yeah, yeah, all good. So, looking back, yeah, just saying about the trap, getting trapped and thinking you're never ready. As I remember, some of the biggest competition I've done already later on when I was kind of competing in international level and stuff. I looking back, I don't think I was ready, you know, and you never really feel ready. So you're ready for that moment, for that competition, for that stage in that particular scenario, but the feeling of being ready 100%, at least for me, never really came. You know, I always felt like there is something more I want to show that, yeah, that I could show in that moment in a way, you know, if you know what I mean. So like for sure you have to be like perfectionist in some way, but in the same time you need to get yourself out there as soon as possible so that environment will start kind of doing and sculpting something out of you, because otherwise you will just waste so much time waiting and thinking you're not ready, and then when you think you're ready you will go to the stage and you will find out that you were not ready, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's really like an interesting loop. So I would say, yeah, whoever wants to compete in drink competition, cocktail competitions, or bar, speed mixing, whatever it is, you know, like what any kind of competition that allows you to jump on stage and perform in a lot of like in front of so many people and get that pressure and kind of, you know, stimulation for your nervous system. Just do it, because that's probably the best way to grow.
So meanwhile you were saying these things, it just start coming another question. All right, you
Yeah.
started to compete, and we know the Denny who you are now. And how would you describe as a person? We know you right now, and we know you as a Flair bartender. What did you did during your career, and how do you look at Flair? But how would you describe yourself in the beginning? And if you remember, what was the journey till you found yourself really, and when you start really enjoying what you do, like not just practicing and throwing things around or repeating what you see, what was the moment when you could kind of feel that, okay, what I do now, I feel I express myself, and this is me?
Hmm.
Because this is a really difficult things I experience on my own self as well, that a certain time or till a certain time I was doing whatever I believed is good to do, and I see everyone do it, and in one point I just said I just want to do what I think I can do, and I enjoy. Where do you think, after how many years did you get to this point, and how?
Yeah, I think, you know, like during the process, you get glimpses, you know, here and there about some kind of deeper philosophy, why you do something and why you do it that way or this way. But preparing for competitions, of course, anyhow you like conditioned to certain circumstances and like certain like rules and stuff, right? So that conditioning is actually not allowing you maybe 100% like kind of express yourself, right? Because those rules are telling you to do exactly that, and you see those people are doing that, and that's what makes them successful, so you start trying to do the same thing, you know. And probably by doing that you will sooner or later you will realize what does it work for you or not. So for many people it does, and for many people it doesn't. And when it doesn't, then you probably need to really like let go of that and maybe try to do your own thing. And you know, a lot of we know a lot of examples when people get some kind of certain success and get into big finals in a competition, who does like completely different things, right? Like, you know, I know, for example, this guy in Russia, Sasha Repunov, he
Yeah.
never really follow like, you know, some kind of rules and stuff. He just does his style. He goes to the stage and he doesn't care about anything else other than his way to perform and introduce Flair. So like people like that for me always standing out in a way that they actually have guts to maybe don't care that much about rules and kind of system. They just there to create and show something else to industry that can be done as well. So I mean, we know a lot of examples like Slava Gazukin, for example, right? Like
Yeah,
who achieve amazing results as well. But like if he would probably follow the rules, he would achieve even more. But he didn't care. He chose another path to go and explore himself in different way and show something completely different that people didn't even expect possible, right? So like Sylvian Glatini, like a lot of people, like who kind of didn't really get recognized in maybe enough in a way, right? Like
yes, yes.
for yeah. So yeah, it's an interesting topic now, but for me it was for me it changed on the way for sure. Like yeah, I started as as just a guy from Ukraine who wanted to travel the world and compete and try to get to that stage with all uh, idols that I had at that moment, right? Like Danilo Ribe, like Christine, Rodrigo, like you can continue forever. Tom McMurray, like there was so many people who I was watching and like kind of getting. That's how my flair got shaped, and that's where I build my foundation by watching others and understanding what the game is, right? And then
Yeah,
on top of that foundation, I started kind of understanding that okay, that's the foundation, that's what kind of keeping me together. But I can start building my own building in a way, and started kind of like looking from other ways to Flair, and that's where I think I started getting creative and bringing into picture some other elements that Flair maybe didn't really see yet or stuff like that. But again, it's not really to take credits or um, to for sure it's a lot of times for winning competitions and get to that level when you can be invited for some master classes and play shows, and it's also part of a business because once you're in that chase and run, you need to make money as well. You need to kind of make living out of just flipping bottles, and you can actually achieve a lot of success in that too, right? We know a lot of examples when people make a lot of good money just by flaring with bottles, flipping bottles, right? So a lot of times it comes to the competition and winning, but then in the same time, for sure, there's another side of it where it comes, certain piece of or form of art where you can really express yourself and show to people who you really are in, by just flaring. So you can do it many ways. You can play music, you can dance, but that's flair is like, just like an art form for people to express themselves. So that's how I
Yeah.
kind of see it.
I think people are still trying to define flair, and I hear a lot of conversations from other bartenders as well. And it's a difficult story because flair is connected to bartending, so people are scared to go
Mm,
away from bartending because it says flair bartending. So people can only
yeah.
accept flair if you're making drinks, let's say. But as you
Mm,
said, it could be an art of entertainment. It could be somehow you express yourself. In that case, we could go away completely from drink making, even if it's a bottle or shaker, but it could go anywhere. Yeah. I started watching your videos when I asked you again, because for you mentioned Marek and Danilo and things like the guys like this, the legends. And my era,
yeah.
when I started, you were kind of front of me. And I remember clearly those days when we were practicing back in Hungary. And I checked back before those, and you mentioned the music, and I realized before you were using like kind of music what was available to get anywhere. But I remember you came
Hmm.
to Hungary and we practiced for a competition in Croatia, and you had music already there. What blew my mind completely. You take a risk with this because it can happen that people won't understand you. But I think this
Mm,
is what
yeah.
put the biggest influence to flair bartending, that you you choose your opportunity by your father, right? He was a musician,
Mm,
and you get into
yeah, yeah.
music with. Uh, how did you get the courage to get out from this
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
that you follow?
just probably just by becoming bored of what you do. You see, like to get somewhere, definitely, like, I mean, it's different for everyone, but at least for me, like, I was following some bartenders like Danilo. Again, Danilo was probably one of the biggest inspiration for me in the beginning. Maybe you couldn't really tell by my style that much, but then, my foundation, when I started kind of watching all these Flair bartenders who were competing, Danilo was probably one of the closest to me, like that I felt kind
Yeah.
of like, oh, that kind of style I want to, because again, of the performance, right? So there was kind of like the feeling after his performance and his presence on the stage when he finished his routine. It was this wow feeling, right? After, because the way he built the music and everything, right? Um, so you definitely start kind of almost like copying someone, and that's also
Yeah.
fine. I think you need to understand that it's completely fine to copy some styles and moves in a way in the beginning, but then you become bored of it, and you need to. It comes to the point when you just become bored of that, and it become like enough for you. You want to experience something else because you understand you cannot go to the same competition. For example, if I do like Tomek's move or someone else, I go to the same competition and I will never dare to do it because that's just not how it works, right? You need to do something creative and different. So at the beginning stage, there is no shame on copying and trying to do something like someone else, get inspiration. But you need to be aware that it shouldn't be anything that you build your own style on and just using kind of the same elements. We know a lot of examples as well when people, getting lost in that too, and kind of following that line, and their whole style and whole kind of backpack of moves and sequences become only built on top of the some popular styles, or for example,
Yeah.
Shifano or anyone else, right? Like if you follow one guy and you become flaring exactly the same way. So when you jump on the stage with these people being in the same competition, judges just are not impressed. It's not enough to get anywhere. And yeah, so basically that's how I see it. You start somewhere and you need references. So you collect those references, you choose those people who closest to you, and then you get to the point when your physical ability is growing, your mindset is growing out of it as well, and then you start actually maybe doing something else because you're just bored and you don't see any point to do that because it's already done, right? There's nothing exciting about it. So of course, you need to start somewhere, but you have to get to the point of realizing that you need to understand who you are and what you want to bring to the industry as well, right?
Do you ever take influence from other things than flair? Like, I guess the music comes from dancing. I realize some of your music were Latvians and things
Mm.
like this, but
Oh
like
yeah, a lot.
keyboard
Twins was
players.
big inspiration for me for sure.
Yeah, for example, I
Yeah,
know
it
most
was
from
kind of.
basketball, for example,
It
and
was different in the beginning, like yeah, it was time when also these new styles were coming in, and like the dubstep or breaks or
yeah,
then it was trap, and you kind of needed to follow the what's popular as well, and kind of picking those songs before they almost become popular. So a couple of times I achieved that. I could actually see that, I could resonate with some music that was coming and it was still new and not unknown in a way, and I resonate with that, so I would start using it, and then maybe after 6 months it became mainstream, right? So it was really funny to see that, like, a few times it happened to me, at least. It was really interesting. And for sure, yeah, like, music is very important um to play in general, of course. I mean, it's probably, if not 50% of
all
your
of them.
routine,
Yeah,
it's a big part. Yeah, 100% creating mood. And that's why, actually, talking about music, I also, some time ago, when I started experimenting with writing music and playing piano, and like I played piano for like 2 years or something, and I wrote few songs in this program called Ableton. So it's a program that, like, most of the DJs are using to write, and it's basically just a software where you build your songs and different instruments and stuff like that. So I just realized that no one really ever teach Flair bartenders to write music for their routines, and music is just so important. So actually, for this year, I had this plan or idea to actually come up with this kind of course, for Flair bartenders, to actually how to use this software to be able to write your own music in a way that you want. Because, like, if you're limited in your kind of not physical, but if you're limited in your skill, right? With computer and software, you end up having like shitty mixes, for your
Yeah.
routine, and
Yeah.
not always you have a DJ friend or someone who actually, even having DJ friend, like he can do it for you, but it never gonna sound the same way as you have it in your head, because it's, you know what I mean? The best way is actually to practice and have your laptop next to you. So when you write the music for your routine and you adjust your routine to your music, and it becomes this whole creative process, it's very exciting. You can lose yourself to this creative process. Is for me, it was always one of the most exciting things to actually, come to the Flair room and having those songs that I wanted to play with for that competition that come in maybe in 2 months, and start putting that in project and start playing and, cutting the tracks and, mixing them together, and suddenly
Yeah.
this idea came up, and maybe you fuck up something in routine in a way, and you slow down, and then actually turn to be working better than you thought, and change everything again in your track. So you will never achieve the same by people writing music for you. So that's why I feel like it would be really cool to come up with this course and teach Flair and kind of this software and writing music in the same time. So I wanted to actually offer it to a couple of people in some like Flair schools and stuff, and do a couple of like workshops with that. So hopefully maybe next year,
Definitely.
maybe not this year.
Definitely you
Yeah.
should. I think I can see some guys already said they will be genius, and that's a good thing. Definitely you should keep, as you mentioned as well, like you see a flair competition, a performance in some music, let's say in between two music, the change is not smooth. It just come out so
Mm,
badly. And when you are in an emotional roller coaster as a crowd, and the music drops in a weird way, you just get out from the motion, like, well, okay, I'm not there anymore. It's true. Uh, Actually, there was one good
mm.
question. Meanwhile, I was reading it. When you created your routine, let's say in the beginning, how long did it take to you to create a routine where you were satisfied?
Mm, in the beginning of my Flair career, when I
When
started like
you
competing.
start, when you start competing internationally, when you start traveling more, and when you start being a professional,
Mm-hmm.
how did you create your routine, and how long did it take to you?
Oh, man, until I pretty much decided to not compete anymore, it was always building, building, building. But if the foundation was kind of still the same, even after like 6, 7 years of competing. I think I still had like a lot of moves that I had from my first routine that I had after practicing for 3 months.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of like ongoing process all the time, and as I said, like you never really get to the point of complete satisfaction, because there's always something ahead. You see the potential, you see some moves in your mind that you wish you could show now, but you're ready to show only this. So from your 100%, you're always showing your 80. And I was stupid enough sometimes to try those moves, just being excited on the stage, try some of those moves just randomly, just this idea, oh, I
Yeah.
want to show this. And like I end up having like 5 drops in the same time. So usually that doesn't work. So you need to be kind of conscious enough to not do stupid moves like that. At least when you're competing, usually magic doesn't happen, even if you want it to happen. But yeah, so that's why like it's ongoing process, and you never get to final product. It's like life.
Yeah.
It just keeps going, and like there's no point of arrival in a way.
Are you the guy who were following the rules, or you were the guy who were doing his own things back in the days? You said some kind of way you did your own thing, but then I want to know if you were actually reading the rules and you cared
I mean,
actually.
you need to be smart in the end. You need to be rational. So, of course, you want to be the guy who do completely his own way. But as I said, there's rules, there's kind of frames, and anyway, you end up being caged in a way, and you need to do those things to get somewhere, right? So if you want to be invited to that competition, and for people to pay your flight tickets, and and pay you money to get in top five or whatever, of course you need to be smart. So you need to kind of synthesize both in a way. So I would say that would be the best. You always need to be rational. There's no right way or wrong way. Just like you need to see what works for you, or not. So for me, kind of, I think I was somehow, luckily it worked for me, so I kind of could synthesize both ways, and get the best out of it. But again, I do
Yeah.
some stupid things too. So
Well, we all did, I think. There was always funny
yeah,
moments.
yeah, yeah.
With the practicing, did you prefer to practice by yourself, or you like good people around you and practice them with them together? Or what do you think when you were the most creative?
I think the most creative I definitely was by myself, like when I was completely alone. But in the same time, some adjustments and really smart and wise moves were created together with Maxim Fedorov. Like when we practiced together, that's I mean he taught me a lot, and he helped me to build like half of my routine when I started like competing and traveling in the beginning, right? So that was really a fun process being in the Flair room together and showing each other some moves and helping each other to see it from outside and stuff like that, right? And so definitely you need to have some kind of pusher who you have like next to you who can always. And actually, when I started, Maxim was better than me, so it was really perfect because he was, you know, he could do more moves and he had his capacity was much higher than mine, so he could always give me some moves that I was not yet even available to achieve successfully physically, but like it was potential. So I was always keep going higher and higher, like growing my skill level. So I would say, yeah, it definitely needs you need to have some community and practice together with people just to get like feedback and um, hear some kind of criticism in a healthy way, but you also need to have your own time when you can just lock yourself in a room for like 12 hours sometimes and go into that creative process and lose yourself to music, your routine, creativity, and that's just so colorful and so fun. So it's probably good to have no one around you. So yeah, there's no distraction in a way. I remember practicing like we were working in one place in south of Ukraine and almost without days off in one of the nightclubs or something. And it was like no time to do anything because our schedule was very tight. But I knew there was some competition coming after summer, and I was just waking up, like sleeping maybe 3 4 hours, and going to this playroom that was like really trashy, right? It was like but yeah, in the basement of the building, and like it was just so weird, man. The smell, everything was just completely disgusting. But then I had my headphones in the way, and I could hear that music, and like entering that room, I was not even noticing anything, right? So I was just completely in that bubble of creativity, and there was like beautiful moments. Just looking back right now, it just yeah, it's something to live for. I would say, like moments like that are very priceless. You're completely losing time, yeah, feeling of time and stuff. You just
Yeah.
become one with what you're doing, and it doesn't matter if it's Flair or it's cocktail making or it's dancing or it's playing music. I think you're very lucky if you found something in life that can give you those feelings when you kind of losing track of time and just losing yourself to it.
Yeah, it's pretty true. Um, Another things with the practicing, okay, you have the moment when you are free to create, but then you have the moment when you practice for a competition and you have to put your routine 100,000 times non-stop after each other. Do you think, or how did you feel about this? Did it bore you, or because of your sport kind of mindset, you were able to keep yourself
Sorry,
entertained?
sorry, I didn't hear it clearly. Can you just say it one more time?
So, when you were practicing, there were creative times when you could practice and being creative, but then there are times when you compete. So you have to do your
Yeah, yeah,
routine
yeah.
thousands times. How did you get over and how did you manage not to get bored and not to lose passion
Mm.
because you do repeat constantly? It's quite difficult, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, it's for sure there's, as in anything, there's fun part and there's this hard work that needs to be applied to it. So you need to, of course, it's never sugar, it's like in life, you don't have good mood like 1 year long, right? It comes up and down. So as everything in life is has both sides. So of course, you have to accept it, and you need to also love that part when you kind of stepping up and you go beyond your limit in a way when you practice, when it become boring, when it become you hate your routine, you hate your music, you cannot hear it anymore because you practice it for 2 months, 6 days a week, 9 hours a day, right? Like it's crazy. It can become really overwhelming, and you pretty much have no time to spend with your friends. You don't have time to go out sometimes and stuff like that. You're completely sacrificing yourself to your goal, right? So it's the discipline that has to be attached to this process if you want to achieve something. If you do it for fun, for sure you don't need to. You can just go in the Flair room and create that, but you will never go in depth of what it is. You know what I mean? When you're really
Mhm.
losing your, like, I don't know, your identity, almost like just by practicing the same thing again and again and again and again. It's like Karate Kid, like pick up your jacket and stuff. Like
Yeah,
it needs to be done, and you also get to the point when you enjoy this process. It's not really only hating it, because it's never the same anyway. Every practicing session is different in a way, and it's not really that machinery. It doesn't need to be, if you organize yourself, like, and yeah, if you include some fun element, that's where probably kind of when you set up your Flair day and in the Flair room, that's where you need to be wise and smart as well, how to organize it so you don't get bored. So maybe include some games when you doing some kind of cool fun moves together with your friends and stuff, and then there's moments when you, like, 2 hours you do only that, and it's like going for a run. If you decided to run 10
yeah,
kilometers, you start running and you're like, 2 kilometers, 2 kilometers, you understand there's seven more. And yeah, you just warm up, and suddenly, like, you see it's already six, and sometimes you want to give up, sometimes you don't, sometimes you run 12 kilometers, sometimes you stop on five, and it's every day is different. So you kind of need to also accept that. But of course, without hard work, nothing really works. Whatever you do, I guess.
yeah. Another interesting topic what it popped in my mind about when you compete and you win first time. After
Mm,
there are difficulties, when you get into the trap that you're chasing that winning and
mm.
holds you back. Did you get into this mindset, or how did you handle this? Because you were winning quite a few competitions and you stayed true to yourself, but I feel that there's a danger part of that as well. What was your solution?
Yeah, I guess if it's, of course, it's a challenge for your ego, once you start winning and getting into the competition with the best in the world, and you see the potential and possibility to maybe, get a trophy one day and be the number one. Of course, these thoughts and thinking are always there, and I think it's quite natural for a lot of people too. So of course, I mean, man, I was dreaming about, I was dreaming big, and that's why I probably ended up where I was. But yeah, I don't know. It's not necessarily bad, to want to win and to get to experience that. You can approach it with kind of with fun as well. You're not winning because you want to be better than anyone else, but you're winning. Your motivation is a little bit different. You can want to win just because you want to experience it. You want to experience how it feels, all those chemicals, and in your body when it's like natural ecstasy, right? It's incredible to be number one out of like 100 people or whatever, right? Like to be on the stage and get all that attention. Of course, it's fun, but it's not necessarily need to be out of that darkness and dark kind of vision that, oh yeah, I'm better than everyone else, and I don't, now I spit on you and stuff like that. So it's never been for me like that, for sure. Like, even though for sure, of course, it was moments when I was I felt blinded by that, at some points, of course. And I think it's also maybe normal for person to for evolutionary process of the personality in a way. um but yeah, it's kind of like I didn't really look at it as a trap. It was always a tool to work and tool to personally grow. Not even if you remove Flair, we're all personally growing somewhere and growing out of some programs and beliefs and stuff like that. So for me, I think it was still kind of like a tool that was kind of um, triggering something in me all the time, of course. But then I was trying to be aware and kind of still be polite and kind to people, instead of actually forgetting about everyone and just thinking about yourself. Even though it's like super
So,
egoistic sport, of course, or sport, if you can call it sport, whatever it is.
it is, but at the end of the day, I think you may not always get a name because of your winning. You get the name because how you are, who you are at the competition, how you represent
Yeah,
yourself.
essentially.
I Yeah, it can be like some people may win a lot, but at the end I can't talk to them. It's difficult to remember to do those people. And I think a lot of people who just start and let's say they have an opportunity with you to talk, that would kick, them forward in the process and they will be even more hyped because they were able to talk to you. And
Hmm.
I remember when you were already on top, we always had a great talk and I went there without English to you, and then you were not refusing me, like, and this is, I
Hmm.
think, very important.
Oh
Um,
man, of course, of course.
did you had
Yeah, for me, it was
in
always to be being part of such a the community, and it opened for me so many doors. Like I'm again from small town from Ukraine where there's only 40,000 people, and like people, most of them never really travel anywhere. At least like back 10 years ago or something.
yeah
So like it was not many even possibilities or opportunities. But then suddenly, I found some vehicle that could show me, bring me to those places where I've been. Like I visited like over, I don't know what, maybe 45, 50 countries in those years of competitions, So it was very fast, very bright and colorful. And so I'm just so grateful for the industry giving me all those tools to work on myself and experience in life in a little bit deeper, more just kind of with more volume in a way, like I would never
yeah
probably end up doing anything like that if it wouldn't be for it. And part of like society and community is big part of it, and you cannot exclude that. You cannot put yourself beyond that, right?
do you believe in talent? Can you hear me?
Oli, yeah, we're back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, do you believe in talent or
yeah, I can
hard
hear you.
work?
Mm, hmm. I kind of believe in both. You see, I don't know, man, hard to say that, but I like to include but not exclude, So like it's kind of almost like different mindset a little bit. It's when you including more of possibilities instead of excluding everything. So I guess like it's both. Yeah, you definitely have to be both, You can, I don't know. I've seen a lot of people working hard, but not really maybe, getting somewhere. But again, personally, maybe they did. So it's not always external, right? So what we see is just half of a picture. If you see someone successful, you think that's how successful he is. But maybe someone like worked so hard and practiced like, more than everyone else, didn't win any competitions, but personally he grew so much and he developed so much discipline and all that. And for him, it's bigger achievement than for someone to win Red House, maybe, because his life changed so much after that. So like the success is like very, um, I'll say that.
Personal,
Depends how
basically.
you look at it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's very, yeah, I see it a little bit differently. So definitely it has to be to get that kind of condition, conventional, not conventional, what's the right word for it? That kind of common success that is success for everyone as the first place, as a bunch of money and stuff like that. Of course, you probably would need to combine talent and hard work. But talent is just set of skill in a way. It's not really something that superstitious or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you had any dreams in your life? What did you wanted to achieve with Flair? Did you had a goal? And if yes, did you achieve it before you kind of stepped away, or is still in your mind?
Hmm. Yeah, you see, I mean, like Roadhouse was always, of course, like as a dream for every Flair bartender who was competing, and unfortunately, I couldn't really. 3 times I tried to apply for UK visa, I never got to get it, which is very stupid, Like after traveling so many places and changing 3, 4 passports because every passport was full of visas. UK was never friendly for me for some reason. I was just so unlucky, right? But yeah, of course, that was the biggest dream, and it's like now it's fine. I don't have any trauma attached to that, but back then, of course, it was like really traumatic because I didn't even get to try. You know what I mean? I didn't even get to that stage, and see it and feel it and stuff. So of course it was a little bit sad back then when I got that third time refusion for UK visa, and I couldn't travel for what they said 10 years. You cannot go to UK.
Yeah.
So that I was like, okay, seriously. So like I kind of looking how old I will be in 10 years. So like, yeah, probably not. Where will be where I gonna even be? You know, I don't even know.
Yeah.
So it was quite sad for sure. But in the same time, there was part of the journey, and I ended up living in Bali next to the ocean, and I love my life, man. You know, so who knows what would happen if I would go there? So I'm quite grateful for what I have right now.
You miss Flair?
No, not really.
No?
No, no, no.
So you
It's
want,
just like it was some kind of like part of my life that I dedicate myself so much to. But I like to move on, you know. I like to experience, dive into it, do my best, try to do my best or whatever, like, and just move on and do something else. I don't think not necessarily you need to do one thing all your life and focus on something for the rest of your life. There is so many opportunities in life. It's so um, it has so much variety, you know, so you can experience yourself in so many different circumstances and so many different environments that change your vision so many times. Same as imagine like Flair changed my life and vision so much. And imagine if like in your life you can find five things as Flair that could change and open you some more doors. Imagine. So like that's how I see it, and I kind of don't look back and kind of miss it. But I'm still open as I said, like, you know, now there's more music in my life. I'm playing piano. I'm trying to write music as well, and um, I kind of started thinking about maybe bringing that to Flair and explain to some, you know, Flair bartenders how to how you can improve your skill of kind of preparing your music to for your routines
yeah.
and stuff. So that would be really cool to do, you know. So I'm kind of not shutting any doors. I'm completely open, and this year we went to Japan and did little session there
It
with
was good.
some Flair bartenders. So that was really cool. You know, when people invite me, I still say yes and I go for it. So it's not over,
Uh,
you know, like, so I don't miss it because it's not over.
okay, you're still kind of involved. Do you gonna ever do those videos? I remember you posted quite a lot of videos, like they were artistic with music. Like for example, your tandem partner. That video is still legendary. And then after when you
Yeah, that
move
was
to Bali,
fun.
you still did those ones. So you're gonna keep doing some kind of things because I think it's really educational as well, to watch it and understand flair in different
Yeah,
way with those.
if inspiration comes for sure, because like when I was doing some of those videos before and like getting some inspiration, it was just coming and like I could not do it, you know. So it was that much energy attached to that feeling of imagining that scene and you know that particular move in that with that sunset or whatever, you know. We were doing
Yeah,
so many
yeah,
like different things. Um, so yeah, you know, it was really fun always to shoot videos, and the one we done with Oscar Perez as well, you know, just flying to Las Vegas and doing Flair video there was just like a huge dream for me as well. You know, I was working on that on the idea and the concept for some time, and we were kind of talking to Oscar for a few weeks, understanding how we do it, where we do it, and stuff like that. So the process like that is super exciting, but I don't know. Now I don't, maybe I don't spend enough time flipping bottles anymore. So uh, that's why maybe it doesn't come yet, you know. But sometimes I'm thinking like, yeah, it would be really cool to do maybe practice one year, come up with a bunch of really like new different moves and shoot them in cool way and just post one video with like some different, you know, like approach to play again. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't have time for that. I'm surfing. I'm too busy now.
and there is one more question. Is I don't know if you want to answer for this, but we had many times in Flairmania when you were watching the new generation. Uh, what do you feel to watch the current generation, and if you have any advice for the people, and yeah, overall your feelings, if we are going in the right way or no, is
Yeah, look, I
obviously
mean,
your
a
point.
lot of it's very a live question for many people. Many people talk about this and understanding where Flair should go and what should we do and what should we not do and stuff like that. But obviously, yeah, for this moment, it doesn't look like the industry is doing the right thing in a way because um, it's the prize money is not there as it used to be. Of course, we're not talking about virus right now, right? We're talking about
Yeah,
in
yeah,
general. So brands are not really interested to pay that much as they used to pay. There's a lot of kind of miss yeah, it's not where we want it to be, that's for sure, right? That's it's not you don't see so many new kids coming with new styles, new vision, new approach to flair, and that's quite sad. But it's also, I think, the responsibility of that, I think, have to be on the industry and everyone who play part in it, So yeah, it's very tough question to I'm not participating anymore, so I don't know. I don't have much right to say anything really, um but yeah, looking at what happened like in last year when mixology started coming up and like brands started being more interested in that. And then flavor bartenders was like, oh yeah, but we also can make drinks, right? And then we went that
yeah,
direction, choosing that direction that we end up kind of trying to prove that we are also bartenders, which is not necessarily maybe it's not really necessary, like maybe it can be as a subculture and it can be that kind of thing and be supported by different brands who is interesting on that thing, but we end
yeah,
up kind of like more as I see, we end up some kind of flair bartenders who can do tricks and flair and stuff like that, but then we're trying to prove that we can make drinks. So imagine like Lamborghini is trying to prove that it's a car. It's like it doesn't really make sense, right? So
yeah,
if you're good, you don't need to prove anything. So I think like it's just an opinion again. It's not
yeah,
maybe it's not true, but it's just another way to look at it. Maybe it didn't need to go that way, and we could just stay as a flavor bartenders as another way of in kind of performing and showing our art and see how far it can go when when a human being is touching shaker in a bottle and what can be done with that, and approach it with curiosity, not judgmental, not saying, oh, mixology is better or flair is better. And it's not, as I said, you don't need to exclude anything. You should include more. And that's how like the whole human experience it become more fun in a way. So, but yeah, you know what I mean? It's like I just remember times when we were flaring with water in the bottles, like in some of the biggest competitions in the world, with some of the biggest prize money when it was like 20,000 euros for the prize money in the whole
yeah,
competition.
yeah,
And we had water in our bottles, so like it was not about cocktail at all, and it was fine, like it was all about moves and seeing how far we can take it, just to see all those craziest moves that you can ever imagine, right? And yeah, like it maybe doesn't need to be that. And in the same time, of course, if you're interested in mixology and drinking, like I'm super interested right now. I'm experimenting. I'm taking some courses. I went to Clumsies this year to get a course with them and get these new techniques and learning how like some of the best bars in the world operating. And just
yeah,
because I'm curious and because I want to grow, but it maybe doesn't need to kind of clash like that, and we don't need to compare and stuff. It's a form of bartending, yes, but in the same time it can be more than that. It can be
the
just
art.
that kind of art. Yeah, it can be art of flipping bottles, and it's nothing wrong with that. Like, and again, like we used to, like, most of the guys who are still flaring in the world level, they do shows, and one show can cost like what, 1,000 euros, like sometimes,
Yeah,
and you can be invited, for example, to fly from Europe to, let's say, Japan, and you can get paid 1,000 euros to perform 5 minutes. So like, what would you care what someone say in a cocktail bar where they earn that in 1 month? You know what I mean? It's like you still need to drive these, because if people pay those money, it means that it's interesting, so you don't need to hear or care about whatever anyone else is saying. So I think like, yeah, we maybe we got lost a little bit in a way, the industry got a little bit lost, but it's also probably good because eventually you will come out of confusion, you'll find the best way to move on. So that's kind of like how I see it right now. I didn't have this opinion before. I was also thinking like, yeah, we need to prove. But then I was like, you know what? Maybe we don't. Maybe we can be just different. And you know, we don't need to compare one thing to another. It's just two ways of bartending that can just separately exist. And we can, you know, if we find a way to make it look exciting and fun as it used to be, as it still is, I think, you know, there will be enough people interested to keep supporting it and put in money, because again, bartenders are supporting brands, brands are supporting bartenders. It's, you know,
Yeah.
it's that's how marketing works in a way, right? So
I think we get few more minutes left. If anyone have any question from the viewers, just go for it. We can answer now. Till that, actually, what I wanted to say is a huge thank you, because my generation grew up on you as well, and I think you give a big influence to the bartending, to the Flair industry, with the way how you used to perform and how you perform with the musicality and with this touch of art to see Flair differently. I think you encourage a lot of us to be different back in the days, or trying to be different. So thank you very much. And
hmm.
do you have anything to say to the guys, or you anything like what they can take as a
uh,
motivation from you?
Oli? Yeah, I mean, I can say only, yeah, for probably mostly for people who just starting to play and, you know, getting interested in this. I would just wish you to continue and keep up, you know, your hard work, and keep being inspired, and don't look around too much. Just do your thing, find your way to do it, and do it to the fullest. You know, just experiment, play, have fun with it, and it will take you somewhere for sure. It not necessarily it will take you to the first place in Roadhouse, but it can take you to, you know, house in Bali next to the beach. So it's quite cool too. You know what I mean?
That would be awesome, I think, for everybody. Thank you for being with me, and say hi for Christina as well. And guys, stay safe.
Oh, there
Thank
she
you
is.
again.
Yeah, so she's commenting.
All right, take care, buddy. Thank you very much for again for this interview.
Thank you
And
so
are
much,
you
guys.
okay?
Yeah, thank you for watching, and I wish you a good day. Sorry?
Are you okay if I save it and I post on Instagram TV or on YouTube
Yeah,
as
yeah, of
well?
course,
Are
man.
you all right with it? All
Whatever,
right, great.
whatever you want to do. Yeah, whatever you
All
want
right.
to do.
Thank you very much, man. Have a great night because it's
Thanks,
night
man.
already there.
You
Sleep
too.
well and take care.
Yeah, it's getting
Keep in
late
touch.
here.
Yeah.
Cheers,
Keep in
guys.
touch,
Have a
buddy.
good night. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Cheers, bud.